In this video, we'll be taking a look at two NFL games happening on September 24th, 2023 and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games. So 2 picks for each game, 4 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 2 NFL games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Houston Texans versus Jacksonville Jaguars. Both of these American Football Conference South teams lost last week, but get a chance to take down a rival in Week 3. The Houston Texans are heading to a familiar place as the Jacksonville Jaguars await them in Florida. Houston has a 5-game winning streak in Everbank Stadium. Jacksonville will try to defend their turf on Sunday. They'll also aim for a 2-0 start against division opponents. Who will prevail when these teams cross paths this weekend? Houston isn't supposed to be good at all, but watching their young players grow is the mission this season. Well, C.J. Stroud's 384-yard passing performance in Week 2 should have Houston excited. 2 more fumbles are a sign of a rookie, but his first 2 touchdowns make it sting a bit less. Regardless, there's not much this offense can muster behind that offensive line. They've given up 11 sacks already, and the ground game is only picking up 2.5 yards per carry. Last week's 20-point performance was nice and driven by the passing game, as most weeks will be. That's because the Texans should be trailing a lot thanks to a defense that may be worse than the offense. They're giving up 5.4 yards per play and allowed at least 25 points in both of their games. A large chunk of last week's game came against a backup quarterback. Cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. may not be healthy enough to suit up this week either. If there's a positive to draw from this group, it's that they've faced the 3rd fewest pass attempts yet have still racked up 4 sacks. Jacksonville's defense already has 6 takeaways, the 2nd most in the league. They're holding opponents to 3.5 yards per rush and just held the Chiefs to 17 points. Add 5 sacks to a group that's holding its own through 2 weeks. Last year's Jaguars defense finished 12th in scoring, so this is just building off that success. They held the Texans to 16 total points in 2022's 2 meetings, so let's see if they can continue to stifle their rival. Every starter is looking like they'll suit up, so there are no excuses. Now, the offense needs to rebound from a pitiful performance in Week 2. An offense that finished top 10 in yards and scoring last season brought their 2022 struggles against the Chiefs into 2023. Trevor Lawrence was sacked 4 times, 3 balls hit the deck. Travis Etienne only ran for 40 yards on 12 carries, and 9 points were the result. Getting back to Week 1's 31 points is a much better plan. Last week brought them down to 4.6 yards per play, but this offense is much better than that. A weak Texans defense should help show it. Houston can't run the ball at all, and a rookie quarterback that has flashed early ball security issues will struggle against this Jaguars defense that finished with 3 takeaways in their first 2 games. That's not even counting on sacks, which should also give Houston problems. Then there's a talented Jacksonville offense looking to bounce back from a brutal outing. They're taking on a defense that allowed 25 in Week 1, 28 in the first half last week, and may be missing a starting cornerback. Don't expect Houston to get many stops either. The Texans are 0-2 against the spread and the Jaguars are 1-1 against the spread on the year. Houston does have a 9-1 record straight up over the last 10 games, but it was all Jacksonville when they met at the end of last season, 31-3. The Jags crushed a -3.5 spread in that outing as well. Stroud and company were only able to muster 9 points in their season opener on the road. Now, a bit banged up, the Texans rookie quarterback will face another road test here, and I don't think he is in good enough shape to pass. That Houston offense is so young and still very much learning each other. On the other side, Lawrence is very much looking like a poised veteran under center, and at home he slings it. The weather will favor the passing game, and that puts Jacksonville in prime position. The Texans are looking for their first win of the season, but they come into this matchup as a pretty big underdog. Jacksonville played decently in their last game against the Chiefs, but the offense couldn't finish drives. I expect the Jaguars' offense to play much better in this game, but their secondary will be tested by Stroud, who has thrown for over 300 yards per game so far. Taking away games against Kansas City, the Jaguars are on a 7-game winning streak. Let's up that tally to 8 after they breeze by the Texans. The Jags are a solid unit, but right now I have my trepidations with the Jaguars' defense and pass rush. But for now I have to roll with the Jags, as betting on Houston is simply not an option right now. So the Jacksonville Jaguars to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Oddsmakers are underestimating Stroud here, as he's actually played quite well through his first 2 games. Last week against a pretty stout Indy defense, Stroud averaged 8.2 yards per attempt. Jacksonville added Calvin Ridley to their offense this year, which has unlocked a new dimension in their passing game. Not only does Ridley look fresh with a ton of burst coming off his year-long absence, but he's also opening things up for others. Last week, Christian Kirk had 110 yards in large part thanks to the attention Ridley is commanding from opposing defenses. Don't let one shaky game from Trevor Lawrence against a tough Chiefs defense last week scare you off the over here. The week before that, the Jags dropped 31 on the road against the Colts. Houston's defense still needs plenty of work, and they just gave up 31 to Indianapolis last week. Jacksonville's offense put up 31 the last time they faced Houston and 31 against the Colts in Week 1. They also put up 31 in their first-round playoff game last season. Those are 3 of the Jaguars' last 4 games excluding the Chiefs. Considering that they need to rebound offensively and that Houston is awful on defense, expect a lot of Jaguars points. That puts the rest of the total on Houston's offense. The line may not be great, but Stroud has shown that he can hit receivers and move the ball. It won't be easy and will probably be too late to matter, but Houston should have passing success against a Jaguars defense that hasn't been great at stopping quarterbacks so far. Expect this game to finish past the total. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Tennessee Titans versus Cleveland Browns. The Tennessee Titans battle the Cleveland Browns in an American Football Conference showdown on Sunday afternoon. The Titans beat the Chargers in their previous bout. The Browns dropped a road decision to the Steelers. These squads last met in 2020 in a game the Browns won 41-35. After losing their first game of the season in New Orleans by just a point, the Titans bounced back last Sunday with a 27-24 victory at home in overtime against the Chargers. That win snapped an 8-game losing streak dating back to November of last season, with a walk-off field goal in overtime from Nick Folk. After a horrible game in Week 1, Ryan Tannehill had a solid performance against Los Angeles, going 20-24 for 246 yards and a touchdown. Star running back Derrick Henry rushed for 80 yards and a touchdown on 25 carries. Defensively, Tennessee struggled a bit against the pass, allowing Justin Herbert to go 27-41 for 305 yards and 2 touchdowns, but they were very good against the run, limiting the Chargers to just 61 yards on the ground and sacking Herbert 3 times. Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins are both listed as questionable on the injury report after being limited in practice on Thursday, but they are both expected to start on Sunday. Last season, the Titans weren't a very good team. After starting the year 7-3, they finished the year with 7 straight losses to finish the year 7-10 and missing the playoffs with a second-place finish in the American Football Conference South. They were one of the worst offensive teams in the NFL, averaging just 17.5 points per game, the 5th worst in the league. They allowed an average of 21 points per game, ranking 14th in the NFL. After opening their season with a dominant 24-3 win in their division against Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, the Browns could not put it all together for 2 games in a row. On the national stage of Monday Night Football, they lost 26-22 to the Steelers on the road in Pittsburgh. The game was electric to watch with plenty of turnovers for both teams. Deshaun Watson and the Browns' passing offense was awful. He went 22-40 for just 235 yards with a touchdown, a pick 6 on the first play of the game, and 2 lost fumbles, including the game-winning scoop and score from T.J. Watt. The offensive line was terrible for the Browns, letting Deshaun get sacked 6 times and not giving him any time in the pocket. The rushing offense was good, running for 198 yards and a touchdown. They took a huge injury, though, as they lost Nick Chubb, their leading running back and one of the best in the NFL for the season, with a knee injury. Jerome Ford stepped in to replace him with a solid performance, rushing for 106 yards on 16 carries. Cleveland's defense was very good, limiting Kenny Pickett to just 222 yards and a touchdown, with 1 interception and sacking him twice. The Browns limited the Steelers' rushing attack to just 55 yards on 21 carries. Deshaun Watson has really struggled as the Browns' quarterback. Statistically, he has been the worst of the 34 quarterbacks who have had at least 300 plays since the start of last season. Last season, the Browns struggled. They finished the season 7-10, ending the year in 4th place in the American Football Conference North. They weren't great on either end of the field. Cleveland averaged 21 points per game, 18th in the NFL, and they allowed an average of 22 points per game, ranking 20th in the league. We have a matchup between a pair of 1-1 teams as the Tennessee Titans head to Cleveland to take on the Browns in this Week 3 matchup. The Browns fell to the Steelers last Monday, but the worst news was star running back Nick Chubb suffered a season-ending knee injury during the game. He is a huge part of this Browns offense and is one of the best running backs in the league, and his impact on the field will be missed. The Browns are a run-first team, and they just signed Kareem Hunt to replace Chubb, who should be productive alongside Jerome Ford, who put in a great performance against Pittsburgh. Deshaun Watson will be expected to pick up the slack, and he has weapons like Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, and David Njoku at his disposal. The good news for the Browns is that the Titans have allowed over 300 passing yards in back-to-back weeks to start the season. They are ranked 5th worst in passing yards allowed per game, so this will be Watson's chance to put them to the sword. On the other side, we have a Titans offense that tends to struggle at times with Ryan Tannehill under center. He already has 3 interceptions through 2 games, and his offensive line isn't helping him out, having already given up 8 sacks. The Browns' defense has elite playmakers who can get to Tannehill, with Myles Garrett likely chasing him down all game long. With all that said, I think Tennessee just had a rough showing in Week 1, but it's important to remember that when this team was healthy like they are now, at one point last year they were 7-3. Tennessee for me is the better team from a talent perspective, but I think the value here is on Tennessee with the points, as Mike Vrabel has been a coaching master in the underdog role, and I believe that the Titans bring back their road warrior persona here. So the Tennessee Titans to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Both the Titans and Browns are run-first football teams. Each of them likes handing off the football and only throwing it we needed, and Monday's game between the Browns and Steelers was a perfect example of that. It should be a defensive battle for the most part, and I'm confident that even Derrick Henry will have trouble running the ball. The Browns' defense has allowed just 3.2 yards per carry across their 2 games this season, which is good for 4th best in the league. But the most interesting stat around the Browns' defense is that they have the best third down efficiency in the league. With how the Titans' offense plays, we should see them going to a lot of third downs, and I'm confident that Cleveland can force them to punt the ball regularly. The Browns played well enough to get a win on Monday against Pittsburgh, but they turned the ball over too many times and ended up with the loss. Cleveland needs to get more from Deshaun Watson, as he did not play very well against Pittsburgh. Tennessee bounced back from a Week 1 loss with a nice win over the Chargers, but they are going to struggle against a very good Cleveland defense in this matchup. I also expect the Browns to struggle with the absence of Chubb. Neither quarterback has had much success this season, with both Tannehill and Watson having issues. The Browns' defense was very good in both of their games this season, even in the loss on Monday night. I don't expect a whole lot of scoring in this game, and the books don't either, with a very low total in this game of just 39.5. Expect both teams to struggle to score. This is a game that should see plenty of focus on rush attempts, which in turn should keep the clock ticking and limit possessions. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.